Hey everyone. Hello everyone. It's Cheryl from Tinker's Card Art, and I'm just popping in to paint up a little pumpkin with you. It is pumpkin season, pumpkin everything, right? So I just came from Dollar Tree. I know you've seen me show you my Target finds and Dollar Tree items, and so I thought I would show you. I had not seen little ceramic pumpkins at Dollar Tree before. I know the light's kind of glary there, but little ceramic pumpkin we're going to paint out. And I see you guys coming on, so thank you. Thanks for coming in and joining me today. And I'm going to just do a quick little demo. I paint a lot of my ceramics like that. Actually, I have a snowman right here I have painted. A lot of my ceramics I paint black first, and then I dry brush the colors on. So that's how quick and simple this little pumpkin was painted black first with just your regular acrylics. When the black base coat dries, then I dry brush on some coats of paint. I just finished this minute. What I'm going to do to finish it off is just add a little clear coat to it. But I thought I would show you from scratch how to start that. So I'm going to pull you up. So I'm going to have you on my computer here. If you would like to ask any questions, I'm going to keep my eye on it. Hey, welcome Audie, welcome Carrie and Debbie. Thank you guys for sharing, and thank you guys for popping in. I appreciate it. I love it when I just pop in at the last minute like this. Just on a whim. I never plan these, but I've been painting pumpkins. I'll show you what I've painted today and what I'm going to paint. But I want to show you how quick these little guys, and like I said, a Dollar Tree, $1.25 little ceramic pumpkins. I'm going to move the camera down so you can see actually what I'm doing too. And I've got you up here, so please say hello, ask any questions. If for some reason I miss your comment or question, I go back afterwards and I watch them. So let me get the base coat on here, and while that's drying, I can show you what I've been painting. So let me see, I'll just tip the camera down. I know it's going to be kind of a weird angle, but you're going to be able to see what I'm doing. And hang on, I'm going to shut my big light off here because I think it's casting a glare. So let's do that. Yeah, now you can see the detail a little bit maybe on this. Black paint, just your black acrylic. I'm going to paint it with any sort of big brush you have. I have this little hog bristle brush I like to use because it gets into the nooks and crannies. Oh, Mary Ellen, I know you say planted pumpkins on your sneakers, but I know you meant painted, and that's pretty cool. I have a pair of black Vans I actually found at Savers, perfectly new, my size, and I'm going to paint something Halloween on it, something, maybe something spooky, I'm not sure. But I'm just painting, like I said, black acrylic onto this little pumpkin. I do like the heavier hog bristle brushes, or you could use a stenciling brush, something that's a little stiffer because it'll dig into the nooks and crannies of the details on your pumpkin. Now, you can use any brush you have. I'm telling you what I'm using, but I'd rather have you jump in and start painting rather than getting all the right materials. So use what you have. It all will work. Hey, Debbie, good afternoon. Hi, everybody. Everybody's popping on this Friday afternoon for pumpkin painting. I'm not a big pumpkin person, you guys. I know everybody's into pumpkin spice, this and that, and I love painting pumpkins, but I'm not a big pumpkin. Well, I'm not a coffee drinker, really, so maybe that's why. But I know you're all enjoying your pumpkin things. I'm just wishing it was still summer, but I am excited to paint the fall things and the Christmas things. And I've been painting lots of fun, cool stuff lately. So it's hard, you know, sometimes to see if you missed a little spot because of the glare of the paint. If you miss a little spot, it really is no big deal. And when it's dry, if you see you missed a spot, you can simply touch it up then. So no worries. And I'm going to just get a nice coat of black paint on that whole pumpkin, especially in the grooves. And I'm going to actually get a little more black paint out because I'm famous for having the messiest palette ever. I usually put out way too much paint, but in this case, I just need to add a little bit. And I know it's going to cause messy fingers because I'm trying to hold this guy and paint it. But I want to paint this base coat, and I can show you what I've been working on today. We'll let this dry. Now, you can always speed up the drying. If you're a little impatient like I am, you can speed it up with your heat gun or a hairdryer. I'd love to hear what you've been painting. Chat in the comments with me. Let me know what you guys are doing these days. If you're a painter, if you're a beginner painter, if you're an advanced painter, if you have never painted at all, I love to paint. I love to teach people how to paint. I teach people who have never touched a paintbrush successfully how to paint in an easy step-by-step method. So if you are curious and want to learn how to do all kinds of paintings, I have information on the in the description there for you. I do a lot of canvas painting, a lot of landscape paintings and different things, but I'm going to just kind of move this around a little bit. You guys are good to kind of go move around. Hey, Tracy, good to see you. And Jean, nice to see you again. Lena, thank you for all watching. I paint lots of canvases. I'm an oil painter. I paint in gouache and watercolor, but acrylic I love to use to teach because it's easy. It's inexpensive usually just to get started. So what I've done is I was on a trip to Dollar Tree today. Like I say, I don't even plan these things, but hey, Rosaline, thanks for watching. And they had some cool stuff. Like I got a lot of wood cutouts I'm going to paint later on. I painted 2 pumpkins this morning. I recorded it, so I'll put them up on the page. I recorded them to kind of make little reels, but I do have the full length, very quick videos. These were Dollar Tree pumpkins. They're heavy. They're made of like a cement or something, so they're not the little resin ones. So this was, I love the little squatty pumpkins. I found them way on the bottom shelf hiding, so look carefully. There is so much fall and Halloween out right now, especially at Dollar Tree. Take a look. Andrea, thank you. So, little squatty pumpkin. There's a million ways you could paint them. You could paint them orange, like the technique we're going to use on the ceramic paint pumpkin. But I just thought this would be nice. It came off-white, gold stem, painted very haphazardly and very streaky. So I painted over with an ivory color, an off-white, and I painted the stem gold over, and then I painted the detail with a little brush of all the little leaves. So that's one. The other one, and like I say, these are heavy. This was just, I painted it all dark blue, dry brushed, like you're going to see the dry brush technique we use on the pumpkin today. Dry brushed with the light blue, and the little flowers were made with a paint marker. So it couldn't be easier. And if you're uncomfortable, detail work, paint markers are fabulous. I painted the stem silver. Like I said, I painted the dark blue. You can see in the little ridges, and then dry brushed over it light blue. Used the back end of my brush to put those little dots on. These little projects could not be easier. Hey, Judy from Alabama. You guys, I'm coming to you from Maine this morning. I live in Massachusetts. I have a little place in Maine. I'm at the beach right now, and I love to hear from you where you're watching from. Victoria, Brenda, you guys, let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you guys are painting. Also, always let me know what you want to paint, because I'll go on here and paint anything if you want to see what I'm doing. So thank you. Hi, Sharon. So these 2 guys I just painted this morning. Dollar Tree, $1.25, and like I said, they're heavy. They're not the resin ones, and I recorded it. So as soon as I edit it, you'll see them come up as reels and as a recording, and you'll find them on my socials, Tinker's Card Art, wherever. So follow me if you would. If you want to have some free lessons and see how I teach, go to my YouTube channel, Tinker's Card Art, and you can follow me there. So now we're going to start putting on the little colors. I also, oh, I'm all over the place. I apologize. Target. You saw my Target finds one day, and I have all these little ceramic pumpkins from Target. I'm going to go on and paint those soon, but they're all little. Aren't they adorable? If you guys put together those little tiered tray displays, how cute would these be mixed in? And they're all painted. They're ceramic. I did a test. The paint, the acrylic paint, paints on here very nice. It doesn't slip and slide. You don't need a glass paint. Your regular acrylics will work. And I'm deciding what to do. Maybe I'll paint little sunflowers, tiny little sunflowers on this guy. Bats maybe on the black one. Any thoughts, any ideas, let me know. I love the teal pumpkins. So those I'm going to paint at some point. I am waiting for this guy to dry, but we're going to dry brush colors. So let me just tell you a little about that while it finishes drying. What I like to do is any detailed piece, any sculptural piece like that, I paint it very dark to start, and then I start dry brushing on. So black I use a lot when I paint my Santas and my ceramic Christmas pieces. Oh, I should have brought some out there under the table. I dry brush on. So what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to start with maybe like a burnt sienna, a darker red brown, dry brush a quick coat. And when that dries, I go to a dark orange. And then I build it up, and you can see on this piece, in the creases, the black still shows, and then I use like I said, a dark brown, and I just build it up until I'm getting almost like a little yellowy orange highlight. On the leaves, the same thing. I'll put a dark green on that green leaf, and then a lime green when that dries. And when I'm dry brushing, usually those colors dry pretty quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this real quick with the hairdryer so I don't have to have you guys sitting around watching paint dry, basically. So thanks for watching. And I always try to mute when I do that, but I don't know if I can mute this. I'm just doing this on my phone real quick. So let me just give it a little, block your ears. It'll take just a second. It dries really quick when I do this. So it's quick, but it's annoying. I hate to use the blow dryer and the heat when I'm on live. Although I did hear that Ranger or someone has a one that doesn't make a lot of noise. I'll have to look into that. Or if I had planned this, I would have had one already painted black, but I didn't plan it. I just hopped on. Thank you guys for hopping on with me last minute. So we're going to just go ahead now, and I want to dry brush, which means I want to dry brush. If my brush has been rinsed off with water, I make sure I dry it off. Hello, Amanda. Hi, Diana. Diana, I'm hoping I'm saying that right. And so I'm just going to take a darker, kind of a orangey brown, and you don't need to see me. Hang on, I'll put you down here. You don't need to see me. I am going to I want to hit the highlighted bits mostly. So because the ridges go this way, I'm going to go across like that a little bit. And I'm just going to get a coat on there. I'm not worried about it coating it perfectly. I don't want to have a solid coat. I want to have it, and as you can see, let me put the finished one up here. You can see how you can see the black showing through? But like I said, I'm going crossways. If I go this way, and I will at some point, it would be a little bit apt to get in the little creases. So if I go like this, my brush is kind of gliding over the top and leaving. I want some of that black to show, but I do want to get a good base on here. I don't care about hitting the leaves or the stem because I'm going to paint those a little bit different color. I'm just getting that quick coat on there. I don't know what that is, but I'll scooch it off. And just go all the way around. And if, sometimes the brushes lose a little hair, you can scooch that off. I really love the dark and the creases. The more detail, the better on the ceramic pieces. And then I know it's dark, but we're going to get lighter and lighter as we go. I do pick the brush up and down a little bit more in the middle of these little sections, but I do want to keep some dark in there. When I go to my lighter color, I really just dry my brush off on a paper towel. I don't worry about rinsing it. Because it's a dry brush technique, I really want to keep the brush rather dry. Hey, Cindy. Oh, Cindy, you're from Mass too. Cool. Did you tell me? I think you told me before where you're from. And Patty's there. Yay, I'd love to see you guys. Rebecca, thanks for jumping on. And I dry my brush off, like I say, on my paper towel, much as I can. And I'm going to just go to a slightly lighter shade. So I've got the darker brown, burnt sienna color, different shades of orange. Can you see I go to the different shades, and then I'll go into a little of the yellow at the end. So I'm just going to go in just a little bit lighter shade, and you're going to see how that lightens it up a bit. And I'm doing the same exact thing I just did. Now, if you guys were painting this at home, I would say let it dry good in between. I'm going to fly along kind of fast just to show you. I wanted just to show you the technique, how fun. If you see ceramic pieces somewhere, it doesn't have to be a pumpkin. You can use this technique on anything. And I'm just in slow increments, just lightening it up a little bit. Again, I'm using that same hog bristle brush. I really do like the way it lays the color on, kind of rough and ready. And any questions, let me know. I am watching you guys here. I don't know if you've looked on my page and scrolled back, you can see some cute Halloween things. I did a little pumpkin with a witch hat, which was cute. I painted that on a little tray that came from Target, a little $5 tray. It's getting a little lighter, you can see. Going into the lighter orange even. You can really see when I put that on, it just turns a little lighter. I can take that orange and mix it with my yellow to get even a brighter shade if I see it's not that bright. I'm gonna zap it quick because I want you to see it a little brighter and it's mixing in with the darker coat. So I'm gonna give it a quick zap. So here we go, block your ears. Just enough to dry it a tiny bit. You'll see that this will show up a little better now. Can you guys see me okay? I know I'm kind of upside down for you here, but let me just take a look on the... I think you can see it. I know it's a little sideways, but you can sort of see what's going on. And sometimes the quicker you go, don't worry and fuss about every little detail, especially a little quick project like this, the better off you are. You're not thinking about it. You're not criticizing yourself. Just do it. And like I said, if I put the little clear finish on that afterwards, it's going to make it a little shiny. You may like a matte finish. You can certainly leave it be. It doesn't have to have that. Okay, so now I've got a really kind of a cool orange yellow color here. It's pretty yellow, but it's got a little orange tint to it. I think it is saffron yellow. I've been liking that yellow for a lot of Halloween projects, actually. And I'm going to just, same thing. I dry my brush off on my paper towel and just go into the color. I'm not using big brush loads of color. I am a little light on my paint. I'd rather build it up in slowly in light coats than have a big glob of paint on there. That wouldn't look right. You can see I'd rather just go light. And can you see that little bit of yellow? It's blending a little bit with the orange, which is good because we don't want to make a yellow pumpkin. I'm kind of after an orange pumpkin here with just some of this yellow highlight. And I'm pretty comfortable. This brush, the width is pretty good, so I can almost go up these little sections too and not worry too much about getting it all into the creases. I want to leave those dark creases. It's a little bit of, I guess, an antique-y looking finish maybe. You could do it however you'd like. You could get as bright and colorful as you like. You could use a maroon to base coat your pumpkin so it wouldn't be quite so dark with the black finish, but it's all your own choice. And that's kind of a nice finish. If you think that the little dark lines are too wide, scoot your brush in and you can get them a little softer. Oh, I saw, Becky, I saw so many cool pumpkins of all sorts. Foam ones, glittered ones, tiny, teeny little ones that I don't know what I would do with, but I want to have them. So yeah, I was shocked. I brought my friend Bev. Hi Bev, you might be watching, with me, and we couldn't believe how much crafty stuff they had. We were there forever looking around. All right, so there we are. That could be enough for your pumpkin. Wait till you see how fun the stem is, but since I'm holding it by the stem, let's do the little leaves next. I'm going to a smaller brush. Just use whatever brush is comfortable. I know a lot of times people want to know exactly the brush I'm using and the size, but I just go with the brush that would be the right size for the job. So I am just taking my little, it's like a little filbert, and I'm going to base coat a couple of different colors. Can't really do an orange leaf because it's not going to show so much. And you know what I just noticed? I've missed a little of the pumpkin in there, so I'm just going to stick in a little bit of the pumpkin color in the between. So I'm going to do some yellow leaves. I'm going to do some green and maybe a maroon that's going to be a little bit kind of a red leaf. Whenever I'm using maroon, I really find it best to mix my own. I take a little black into my red, and I get a nicer maroon than I have been able to find in any of the craft paints. So I'm going to make my own maroon, and I'm starting dark, just like the whole pumpkin is. I'm starting darker than I want to be, so I'm going with a nice dark maroon. Let's make this guy, and I'm skimming my brush again over the top a little bit. I'm trying to leave some of the darker areas, the little crevices where the little leaves are, and I'm going to skip up here. I'm gonna do that one green. It'll go with the stem. Let's skip over here and just our dark maroon. And what's fun and what makes this project so quick is you don't have to get a fine detail brush and get around the edges perfectly and fill it all in. I want there to be black showing through. I know how dark that is, but that's okay. It's going to be a good base for our next few layers of red. I do have to rinse my brush off here now because I'm going to go to the lighter colors. I'm going to go to a gold colored leaf, so I've got kind of just a yellow ochre color here. And let's just do this one, and can you see? I'll try to do it so you can see it. So this is just a yellow ochre. I could get lighter as I put the layers on here. If you're more comfortable with a little tiny brush, you know, smaller than this, feel free. You never have to do exactly what I say. Just get the gist of it, and you're the boss of your painting, so you can do whatever you like. This is how you discover cool techniques and new ideas, is just veering off on your own sometime. Get a little instruction and then make it your own and take off and do whatever you wish. So there. I'm going to do a few green leaves, so I'm going to start it pretty dark. Well, I've got a middle of the road green here, but on that dark background it's not going to show a lot, which is what I want. I want it just to be just a little bit. So let's just get that green on there. This will come together when we highlight with the lighter shades of these colors. Can you see how I'm just skimming my brush over the surface? I'm barely touching. I'm not getting the edges. I'm just going ahead right over. So this is going to be a good one for you to see, because you can see I can have some of those little black vein lines are still showing through. This little is a three-dimensional leaf stuck on here, so I'm going to do the edges and a little of the bottom if it shows. And since this is dry, I can hold it here, but watch how quick and fun the stem is. I just go right around. And can you see some of the little black crevices are going to stay dark? And it just gives the piece texture. These would be great fun to do with the kids. You could do a little project with them. I love to see how they just go wild with their little ceramic pieces and project. They don't worry like we do about how perfect it is. So we're getting there. Pretty cool. Oh, Rebecca, I don't know how well the foam pumpkins would work. I have painted foam pumpkins, but they've had a plastic finish on them, so they were hard plastic, and that took the paint. But if it's like foam, styrofoam, I don't know if the paint would take very well. You could try putting a little gesso on it, perhaps, and that might work. Well, Webster, Cindy, yeah, you're right. You're not far from me at all. You're just west of me. So this is going to be more of a red leaf. We've got that dark maroon on there. I'm going to take my red now. Again, a little paint on the brush, not a lot, and just kind of pull that on top. I may give them a little orange highlight too, but basically that's going to be a little red leaf. What I'm doing is I'm grabbing paint off my palette, and then I'm just kind of, you know how messy this is, I just kind of wipe some off. You can do it on a paper towel. And I want to just take some paint, wipe a little off. I want it to be a dry brush technique, thus the dry brush. I'd rather have, like I said, have you go in just lightly with it and have to go and do it again. There. I'm going to pull my brush into a little bit of my orange and see how that looks, just to brighten that up a tiny bit. But I don't want to get the orange color of the pumpkin, but it brightens it up a tiny bit. That's good, just a tiny bit. And then we're going to go into those yellow gold leaves. I'm going to take that that red off my brush and really, like I said, absorb the water off. Go for a lighter yellow now. And watch how it just brightens up a little bit. You can always go in after if you want to add a little detail to the veins. I did not, but you could go in with a detail brush and do your little veins. You see how it's a few steps? The black is already there from the base coat. I put on a darker shade of the color I want it to be, and then I start going lighter. And I'm going to actually take this yellow and maybe mix a little white with it. I just want a little bit of very light. It's just brushed lightly across the top. Again, you might want to let that dry a bit. But I just want a little lighter here and there. That's a little bit of too much. That's a case if I didn't dab my brush off, so, but that's okay. I love putting the lime green, so that light, nice apple green that I have over the green stem and leaves is going to be pretty cool. A little bit of that green. Dry brush lightly so it hits, especially the green shows. You can really see the little dark veins because of the detail carved into the ceramic. You can just lightly just pull your paint over that and keep those little dark bits. This one got a little heavy because I did not dab my brush off as much as I should. This one kind of kept the veins. You can go in with a very watered down black after and a detail brush and put that back in if that bothers you. And you, oops, I'm putting a little green on my yellow, but you know what? It kind of looks like some of those leaves that are half turned, so that's cool. Okay, this one. I love these really textured pieces. So look, I'm going to just go right across the top. I'm going to put a little on the edge because that will lighten that up a little. And I love doing, look at how fun that is. I love doing the stems because it's got a lot of detail in there and you can really see the ridges. This is just about done, you guys. And I would like to take a little yellow maybe too. Onto the, yeah, onto that one. On here, and I think my red leaves are calling for a little bit of orange just to brighten them up. Let's see what we can do here. Barely any paint on my brush. Yeah, it's kind of looking like the little multicolored leaves a little bit. And it doesn't take away from, you know, it's not lost on the orange of the pumpkin. All right, pretty cute, right? All right, any other questions? You guys throw them out here. I'm here to answer them for you. So thank you, Judy. And pretty quick, right? What a cute little display on your table. Now this is great because they're not jack-o'-lanterns, so these you can take right into Thanksgiving. Now what I would do, because I want to bring them a little brighter and get a little shine on them, I will put a finish. But like I said, if you like the matte finish, there's no reason you have to put it on. They're not, the paint's not going anywhere. You could put a satin finish on. If you have a spray finish, whatever you like. What I'm going to put on, only because it's here next to me, is it's actually, I did some big carved signs this spring, and I just wanted a nice finish on them. So it's a water base. You can get it Minwax. It's polyacryl, but this is the Helmsman one. They're water base, so you can wash your brush out. But you can get a nice little gloss, or you could just get a satin finish. But I like that it's a whole big quart, so it lasts a long time. I also use the Mod Podge. I use different types of finishes, but I have a big quart of this from my signs, and it works perfectly well. And all I would do is just now brush this on, and it just gives it a little shine. And you could put a really high gloss on. You won't get as shiny as if it was a glazed pumpkin, but you're certainly going to, you know, get it a little shinier. So I'm going to put a coat of that on these guys. I'll take photos of them and put them up on the page. And like I said, you can watch me paint these two because I've recorded that as well. Hi, Erica. Hey, it's my other Cheryl. Nice to see you. Thanks for popping on. Thank you, Patty. They are fun. And like I said, you guys are good to pop on. I do have a texting service number. If you want to know when I'm going live, I do give you like a few minute warning. If you text me at that number, you will be able to get a little warning. I mostly remember to tell you. 978-315-5650. I'll put it on a description, in the description maybe. And if you want to know a little bit more about painting with me, like I said, if you haven't even painted before, I can certainly get you started. I have a couple different art memberships. One is more in-depth than the other, and I won't bore you with all of the details, but the description, there is a link, and if you have any questions about it, just throw them out or send me a message. Hi Jane, hey Carol, thank you guys for watching. How long have we been on? Probably not that long. And see what you can do in these quick little bursts. People say, I don't have time to paint. I'd love to paint, but little tiny projects and little tiny paintings. So anyways, I won't go on and on. Thank you all for watching and painting with me again, and I will see you all soon. Thanks.